to What the Hell. Today we're going to talk about the new Suicide Squad, but first, couple of things. We have a new subscriber, Kevin Evans. Thank you for subscribing.
Hey, Kevin, welcome to the jungle.
Kim Evans.
Kim Evans. You said Kevin.
No, I didn't say Kevin. Where the fuck
You
did
know
you
what,
get
Kim?
Kevin from then?
Kim, you know what? Where he has verbal dyslexia, I think I've got audio dyslexia sometimes. I think most of it is just.
So.
I think most of it is as you go back and listen to some of our previous episodes, you'll realize that
It's true.
it's true. Like I'll mishear you, you'll misspeak, and then somewhere along the lines, a third variant. You've got your COVID-19, then you got your Delta variant, then you've got us. So.
And another thing is we have another comment from the Casey Anthony, Psychos and Sociopaths. God, I mean, no, I didn't want to do that. That's just getting on here. Read more. There we go. She's basically saying how much that the case for Casey Anthony was kind of bullshit and everything, and it sucked. And it was really ridiculous. If you go back to the Casey Anthony, you can see the full thing because it's a lot, and I don't want it to be just the reading comments from other people and everything. You can go ahead and read her stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it was very in-depth and very... I reply to her thing. And it's very rarely that I get to reply to people, but I usually just do short messages.
Yeah. For whatever reason, I can't see the see the comments. Yeah. Very weird. Okay. Anyways, all right.
But yeah. Anyways, thank you, Natasha, for commenting on our Psychos and Sociopath of Casey Anthony. And here we go. How did you like the Suicide Squad movie?
You know, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I never thought that I'd be able to say this in a sentence and say it with a straight face without some kind of like threat of perjury or whatever being submitted against me. But I never thought that I'd be able to say that a DC movie kept me not only engaged, but it kept me entertained.
Well, Zack Snyder's Justice League cut was actually
well, good. Yeah. It's because the story, it actually had backstory to it. It filled in the holes where the Joss Whedon version of Justice League kind of failed everybody miserably. But I think mostly, and I think this is kind of funny, but we had James Gunn write and direct this new Suicide Squad. And DC couldn't even help themselves. I mean, they had to get Marvel in on it, because if you saw the commercials, it was from the creator or from the director of Guardians of the Galaxy. It was
that was.
So I mean, they had to tap Marvel a little bit just to get some notoriety for this, but and I was pleasantly surprised because I got the notification for it on my HBO Max app that said that it was coming out that night. As opposed to, I was thinking it wasn't going to come out until Friday.
Yeah.
And so, what was it? The 6th, which was yesterday.
Yeah, it came out. Sometimes I've noticed that HBO Max does that sometimes.
Yeah, and and if that's what they're going to do, I mean, dude, I'm telling you, I cannot wait for Dune to come out, because they're saying Dune is supposed to come out on the 22nd, which is a Sunday, which is weird. So, I don't know, we'll find out, but. Getting back to Suicide Squad, you had, your 3 main characters that were still there as part of, viable part of the story. You had Amanda Waller, you had Harley Quinn, and you had Colonel Flag. Flag, the guy that plays Flag in this movie, he was, as you brought up yesterday, and you and I were talking while we were at work, he played Kovich in the original Altered Carbon. Season 1. Tadashi Kovac. Thank you.
Russian and no, it comes out on a Friday.
Okay.
October. It's 22nd.
October 22nd. Okay, I'm looking a month prior. Okay, so it may come out on the 21st, which is totally okay with me.
Yeah.
But I mean, now of course you know that we are going to be in a position where we have to go back and rewatch the original Dune first, just because I mean the original Dune was a humongous hit, and
Funny story on that. My dad to this day, he keeps on repeating this, and it was the part where something blew up, but there was a dog in there. And I was a kid when we first saw it in the theaters. We went to go see it. I know who we went to go see it with. We went to go see it with my Uncle Kent and my Uncle Timmy. They were friends of the family, not actual family members, but, family. And my first instance with that movie, my dad keeps on repeating every time we mention Dune. It's like, I still can't believe when you actually saw that in the explosion and everything, you looked at me and like, Daddy, did the dog go away? Where's the puppet dog? To this day, my dad keeps on, he's like, Daddy, is the dog okay?
well, and then I think what we need to do is have your dad in here when we review Dune, because I want to hear this story first.
Yeah, we'll have him in.
But but getting back to Suicide Squad, it
was a fun movie.
It was a fun movie. I mean, it was well written. It didn't seem like it was just kind of thrown together. It had.
Well, they also had like a year to polish it.
They did, but it had the right amount of gore. I mean, just some of the death scenes were just incredible.
Well, some of the starfishes.
Oh yeah,
the Starros.
Star the Conqueror.
They ripped off like the face. I mean, it was a intermixture of a thriller, a comedy. It was a James Gunn movie.
Yeah,
because most of his James Gunn movies are like that. I mean, look at what was that one horror movie that he did that got him start. It's like Parasites or some shit like
something
that.
like that. But
I'm
this
curious
is
now.
the type of movie that, I mean, this is for the more mature comic book connoisseurs and action aficionados. This is not a family film. Do not mistake this. This is not a family film. There is language. No. There is violence. There is a lot of gore. Now, there's no nudity in this movie at all. So, which to be the whole nudity factor.
It was like a blip.
It was a blip. What was it? It was the
bar scene.
The bar scene, yeah, when they were going out the back. Yeah. Now, but it wasn't gratuitous. They didn't need to sell that. I mean, it was so very subtle that they didn't feel like it needed to be a part of the story. Kind of like Game of Thrones. They didn't need to.
Holy shit.
They didn't need to sell this as pornography with a side of storyline. It wasn't that. I mean, it was really well done.
I'm looking at James Gunn stuff.
Yeah.
And this populated. They're making a Peacemaker TV series. And the poster on it, I'll find the poster and I'll put it right here. It says, "Fuck, it's Peacemaker."
I didn't like his character, man. I really didn't. Especially there towards the end of the movie. And by the way, there's spoilers that are going to be sprinkled throughout this. It's a smattering of spoilers. So if you
Slither,
haven't, Slither. Yeah, there you go. But if you haven't seen,
but he only written.
If you haven't seen The Suicide Squad, go to the theaters, check it out there, or if you've got the HBO Max app, check it out there.
Yeah.
But I was impressed with this movie. Now, I did watch this with my boys. It's just because we have an understanding that we can watch these types of movies, the rated R comic book movies and stuff like that, as long as I'm there with them and I can explain to them as the story's progressing, like hey, this, and this. So, but overall, this is not a movie that I would expose. I would say expose. I wouldn't let. This isn't a family film.
No, not by any means.
This is a. this is what I, this is a comic book movie if James Gunn had the freedoms to do what he wanted with it. It had the dark nature of the DC universe. It had adult humor. It had physical slapstick. It had
I just pictured everything. Everyone was my mom.
yeah, Polka Dot Man.
Polka
He's
Dot.
like, I just imagined everybody was my mom and I killed them. You had your.
I really got to watch that again.
I do. I do as well. But I really, 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 really enjoyed this movie. And the fact that it was a DC movie left me kind of feeling conflicted at the end because I'm like, maybe there's hope for the DCU. But let's face it, it's DC. It's Warner Brothers. They're gonna figure out a way to screw the pooch on it. Not to say that the Snyderverse is failing by any stretch of the imagination, but we don't need to rely on camera flares and zooms and stuff like that, and we don't need to butcher the crap out of these storylines in the editing room. I mean, leave the extended cuts as your main theatrical release or your straight to streaming release, and just let it do what it's going to do. If you need to go back and do a director's cut after that, fine.
It doesn't need a director's cut.
But
I think
this
they
one
just let
doesn't.
'em have all
This one was really well done. It started out. I mean, you see Michael Rooker sitting there as Savant, and he's just, he kills that bird at the beginning with that handball, and you're like, huh, okay, and he turns out to be just some kind of like pansy ass, right? I mean, he flips out, and he runs away. Amanda Waller detonates the explosive in his head, and just the best line that Michael Rooker had in the opening 5 minutes of this movie, or opening 10 minutes of the movie was, "The weasel's dead. I repeat, the weasel is dead."
No, what was even funnier than that was the whole thing was like, did anybody check and see if the weasel can swim?
Did anybody bother to check if the weasel could swim? And then everybody in the control room are looking at each other like, oh, fuck.
Dropped the ball on this one.
Right, exactly. So, I mean...
So okay.
There was a lot of people in this movie, though.
Yeah, there is a lot of... Well, James Gunn has, like, a lot of reach with...
Oh, he
actors and
does.
everything.
And so...
Most of the people that were in this
He
movie...
even had his brother in this movie again. His brother had a cameo in the movie.
Was he the weasel again?
No. He played he played an inmate, and
Oh, okay. I would have to...
they were looking at what was it, Polka Dot Man, when they let him out of his cell, right? And they
okay.
were, and he was like, oh, he called him a pussy, and so.
Well, he probably was
a
Weasel too, because his brother does Rocket.
No. Bradley Cooper is Rocket.
Bradley Cooper is the voice of Rocket.
Right.
But Rocket
but
is
James Gunn's brother was one of the
body doubles.
He had a part in the Guardians of the Galaxies.
Yeah.
So he actually on screen, because at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, he gets the fin, and he's trying it on, and he's trying to learn how to control the
Arrow.
The arrow. He stabs Drax with it.
No, but he's like who's the guy that did Golem? The body stuff for
Andy Serkis?
Yeah. Like that.
Yeah.
But that's what his brother did for Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah. But so
that's why I say he's technically Rocket Raccoon's body double.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so he probably was Weasel too. Man.
Let me see here.
But no, from the looks of IDB, James Gunn is going to be busy for a while, because he's doing a Star Season Hutch TV series, Wile E. Coyote.
Sylvester
screenplay.
Stallone was the voice of King Shark.
That's what it was.
Yeah. And because I was like, why is that familiar? You know, and he's like, nom nom. No, that's not nom nom. Not that either. You know?
Really?
But I think that the standout here in this movie wasn't. It wasn't.
Yeah, Sean Gunn was the weasel.
Okay. All right. Cool. But you know, it wasn't Margot Robbie. I mean, yeah, I love her as Harley Quinn. I mean, she just nails that role.
Yeah.
But I don't think she was the absolute standout in this movie. Kind of like, you know, they tried to make her that standout in
The first movie.
the first one. And I love how they didn't just do a reboot and say, you know, we're going to retcon that one. I mean, they acknowledged the first one in a little bit, but this was like an extension of the story. It was a continuation. It was like an actual sequel kind of a thing. Without coming out and saying Suicide Squad 2. No, this is the Suicide Squad. And I love how it had that retro 1970s kind of like campy comic book, you know, feel to it in the beginning when they were doing the credits and everything like that. But Idris Elba, I like him as an actor anyway. I mean, the dude has got some chops, right? I mean, have you seen Luther, that BBC series? I love him in that role. And I honestly think that he would have made a great James Bond. I do.
I believe you.
You know,
I'm with you on that one. I really.
Who got that role anyway? Was it Tom Hiddleston or was it Tom Hardy? Or yeah.
What? For James Bond?
For James Bond.
The new one?
Yeah.
Or well, after.
Because I think
Craig's done?
yeah, after Daniel Craig's done, when they finally released that damn movie. Because that movie was supposed to come out like 2 or 3 times. It says it's supposed to come out Friday, October 8th. And that's supposed to be his last go-around as James Bond, which I get.
They were talking about using one of the female black actors.
Yeah, they backed off. Broccoli Studio Productions backed way off of that. I mean, they got so much blowback because they were talking about renaming the character to Jamie Bond, and they were like, well, you know, 007's not a person; it's just an identifier. The fact that, I mean, there are certain roles that need to stay within that gender. You know, you can't make Harley Quinn a guy. You know, you can't make Superman a girl and still name it Superman, right? I mean, that's why we've got Supergirl and we've got Supergirl, right? So I mean, they've got their own. You know, you can't make Wonder Woman a dude, you know, or Aquaman a girl. James Bond is a quintessential man. That's a male role. Okay. I'm not saying that it couldn't be done, albeit it may be done rather poorly.
Yeah, they're just doing speculation right now who might be the next James Bond, and some of it's just.
I think Tom Hardy would be great in that role. I really do. Because I mean, if you've seen him in Peaky Blinders, I mean, he's got that kind of persona a little bit already. Now I know that he's busy doing like the Venomverse stuff, but
did you see the Carnage new?
Yeah, the new Carnage trailer. Yeah,
I can't wait for that.
And Tom Hiddleston, he's going to be tied up with Marvel playing Loki for a while because I mean they're already going to come out with a second season for Loki. So, but
he can still do it.
Yeah, he'd still do it, but I mean, because let's face it.
Because he had that one movie that he was like a hotel spy type deal.
Yeah, the Night Manager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he did that while he's doing Thor, Ragnarok.
Yeah, I mean, but either of those two guys, I think right now, in my opinion, those two guys are the leading candidates. But Idris Elba, I think, would make an amazing James Bond.
I would be more in lines with Idris Elba.
Idris Elba?
Idris Elba.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Idris Elba would make a great James Bond, and they could do a lot with the role from there.
Didn't he play like a spy thing? I know they had like a Netflix movie that he was like a police officer, but he was working with like a pickpocket that thought he was a terrorist.
Terrorist. I forget the name of it.
Kind of want to watch that movie again.
Yeah, let me look it up here. His filmography real quick. Let me see here.
I'm already on him.
Yeah, I'm looking too. Well, yeah, that sounded bad. Anyways, you know, and the fact that he jumped on with the DCU after his falling out with Marvel, because the way that I guess he just didn't appreciate the whole makeup process for Heimdall. But all that aside, let me see here.
The Take.
The Take, yeah. I want to say that wasn't that a Netflix movie or something like that?
It went straight to Netflix, but I think it was one of those ones that were. I think it was released overseas, but we never got it.
Yeah. I mean, he usually plays a pretty stand-up guy. You know, or he'll play. You know, like if you go back to watch Luther, he's got his issues, right?
And they're so freaking hilarious.
Yeah, but his role as excuse me, his role as Bloodsport in this movie was really good. I mean, because he established himself. He didn't have that over-the-top superhero build. You know,
Like Peacemaker.
yeah, like well, I mean, it's John Cena, dude. You know, and his whitey tighties, which is racist, by the way.
You had to watch the movie to get that one.
Yeah. So, but his role as Bloodsport, I mean, I thought he pulled it off, man. Because I mean, he would talk to himself, whereas you would assume, like, you know, like some superheroes that have got that merc skill set, you know, they would break that fourth wall, kind of a la Deadpool, right?
No, what really got me was the part where Waller was gathering everything, finally got him to lead the team and everything like that.
Yeah, they're doing
and
the briefing.
And everybody has a unique skill that...
Yeah.
And they go past and they get Peacemaker and everything, and it's verbatim what they just said about freaking Bloodsport.
Yeah.
And
He's like,
it's
I
just
can do that. He goes, I can do it better. What do you mean you can do it better? It's like, it's the same bullet, or a different bullet, same hole. It's like, why are you going to do that? Smaller bullets.
But, yeah, it was hilarious.
But, I mean...
And I'm probably going to be saying that a lot on this because it was freaking hilarious.
Right. But Viola Davis, you know, she reprised her role as Amanda Waller. And...
I love her as an actor.
yeah, I mean, she's a great actress. Joel Kinnaman was Colonel Rick Flag. You know, the evolution of his character between the first and second movie, outstanding. I mean, he kind of said, you know, because, you know, in that first Suicide Squad movie, he was by the book, and, you know, right, except right there at the end, you know, when he let the Enchantress go, right, to set the whole storyline off. But, you know, it was he had more of this seasoned special operative mentality to him.
Yeah.
You know, like you see a lot of spec ops guys. They're just kind of like, well, this is what we're going with. You
and
know,
what was really cool about this whole thing, though, is Taika Waititi
yeah,
was even in it.
yeah, he was in it. He had that cameo right there at the end.
It wasn't at the end.
Well,
You
not-
actually
it
tell in
was-
the beginning.
Was it the beginning?
Yeah, because they did a flashback in the
Yeah, well, yeah, it was a flashback, but yeah, it was.
Because remember all the rats were like huddled
Yeah,
together to
yeah, that's true.
get them warm.
Pete Davidson, dude, this guy is going to become like the next Steve Buscemi, I think. But
I still don't like him.
I don't like him either.
It's one of those things that I have to meet him and everything, but everything that it was kind of the whole thing he did with Dan Crenshaw after he was like, well, they forced me to apologize to him and everything like that. I'm like, it kind of sounded like a douchebag now.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of these Saturday Night Live rejects that he did his tour on the show and decided, I'm going to use that as my springboard.
Well,
and
most of them do that anyway.
Yeah, but
except for Keenan.
Yeah, well, see, but Pete Davidson, to me, he's just kind of like, you tell that he's trying too hard, and he's using that whole Dan Crenshaw thing as, I mean, he's milking it. Like, dude, he's going to get his 15 minutes, but he's trying to stretch it out into an hour. And just like most things that Hollywood stretches out,
Yeah.
it leaves a lot to for it's lacking, and
Calendar Man. That's what he was. It was Calendar Man.
who?
Sean Gunn.
Yeah, 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 because he had the on his forehead. Let's see here. Jay Courtney as Captain Boomerang. It was a very short-lived appearance in this movie at the beginning.
Yeah, but I like how
Nathan Fillion, though, as TDK, everybody's like, well, what's your special power, And then he shows off his special power, and his arms are just... And to me, that just that encapsulates Nathan Fillion as his, his just the aura that he kind of gives off. I'm not saying like he oversold and then underperformed, because I love this guy as an actor. He's always going to be Captain Mal to me, but it's just funny because just the way that he pulls it off, and he's just laying there on the ground while they're shooting his arms. He's like, oh God, it hurts. But I really, really enjoyed this movie. It wasn't, it was over the top in a lot of things, but it was done so well that it didn't seem like it was outside the realm of feasible. Does that make sense?
the detachable kid. That's what it was. That's
Yeah.
what TDK means. I had to go back and look for it, but that's another thing.
I love that line though. When Bloodsport looks at Peacemaker and he's like, coming from the man who wears a toilet bowl on his head, right? And he's like, it's not a toilet bowl, it's a beacon of freedom. It's just,
It's a
Nope.
toilet bowl.
yeah, it's a toilet bowl.
But that actually that character actually came from a deal that DC did, and they didn't bring him back out until like Crisis of Infinity War.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, Crisis of Infinity Earth.
Yeah,
And-
but overall, here's a little thing. Why Peacemaker gets the Suicide Squad spinoff? James Gunn just felt like he needed his own HBO spinoff.
which one?
Peacemaker.
I'm at the thing.
This is going to be this thing where I'm going to hold. I'm going to reserve my judgment until I see the first episode.
I do that a lot nowadays. It's like the new the Batman that's coming out.
Yeah, with Robert Pattinson.
Patrick.
Robert Pattinson. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's like, oh, he'd make it. I was like, you said the same thing about Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck was technically a good. Okay.
He was a good Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, and that's what he says. Even Christian Bale said that. All the actually the Batmans from the past, except for like George Clooney and Val Kilmer, still was really good. But
Val Kilmer was a great Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
George Clooney, unfortunately, will always and infamously be associated with bat nipples.
Yeah. But you're not playing Batman. The director is playing Batman, technically. If you
Yeah.
if you actually think about it, the director is playing the superhero characters, because the superhero characters, except for someone like Superman,
Mm-hmm.
which Henry Cavill I thought did a bombastic
Yeah.
job on that. He was really great. He deviated into the role, and even Brendan Roth. Brendan Roth was a good Superman.
Yeah, Brandon Routh did, and to me,
I just hate the writing that they gave him.
Yeah, the writing was just lackluster, but I really, really wanted to see him finish his 3-film commitment as the Man of Steel, because he looked like Christopher Reeve. He had the same mannerisms. He had the same build as Christopher Reeve.
I mean, even on Crisis Infinity Earths, that he played his original Superman, but he
Yeah.
did a Kingdom Come Superman, which it was still fantastic, and I wish they divvied up a little bit more on that. It was just, oh my gosh, he was so great. They should use him for Kingdom Come.
Yeah, I mean, when Christopher Reeve's widow gave him a necklace that Christopher Reeve himself wore and said, "Look, you have my blessing to play this role." To me, that is the ultimate compliment because, I mean, for our generation at least, Christopher Reeve is always going to be Superman.
Yeah.
And the day that he had that that equestrian accident and became paralyzed, that was a gut punch. But then the day that Christopher Reeve died, that affected me because, to me, I mean, and I've said this before in one of our previous episodes, where my heroes are my dad, Superman, and Dale Earnhardt Sr. in that order. I mean, that's my list of heroes. Your heroes aren't supposed to die. They're just not. I mean, I cried when I read the death issue of Superman, right? What was the issue, number 75, right? And it had the black bag.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking
Yeah.
about.
To me, that last frame in the comic, in that issue, where Lois Lane is holding Superman's body in the rubble of what used to be Metropolis, and it says, you'll remember where you were the day that Superman died, right? And then I remember there was a political cartoon that came out the day after Christopher Reeve died, and it played on the original promo line for Superman, the motion picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
It says, "You'll believe that a man can fly," and it had the wheelchair with Superman's cape draped over it, and then there's Christopher Reeve with angel wings flying off into the distance.
Oh God, that's a great freaking picture.
Right? So, I had cut that out and saved it, and unfortunately it didn't survive my second divorce, but they're just going back to Brandon Routh, it just made, I mean, to me it was just it had that pure like nostalgia feel. Like they weren't trying to reboot the series, they weren't trying to go back over his origins and stuff like that. It was a continuation. Like, Superman left us for 5 years, and then he comes back. I enjoyed a lot of the depictions in that movie. Like even when they did the play on that Action Comics cover.
Okay.
When he caught that car and he was setting it down, and it just kind of harkened back to that Action Comics cover, right? And then they didn't do a whole lot of gender reassignment with some of these roles, and don't get me wrong, I have no problems. I have zero issues with Lawrence Fishburne playing Perry White. No issues at all. Okay, so it's not about that.
Yeah,
But they made Jimmy Olsen a female in The Man of Steel.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
Not-
Jimmy Olsen. Yeah. You're on the computer. Go ahead and look it up.
I don't have to, because I know he was in the scene in Batman versus Superman. Jimmy Olsen was a CIA operative.
In The Man of Steel.
That wasn't Jimmy Olsen. That was no name of Jimmy Olsen.
I promise you. It's just the way that I remembered it here. Let me see here. Of course, it's going to make a liar out of me. That was the thing. Like there was a big deal that they made out of it too.
It was a big deal over nothing. I knew everybody was being an
Okay,
idiot.
all right, fine. Chalk me up as being one of those idiots then, whatever. But
because you can look at. I hate MDB.
IMDb.
They redid their site, so it's harder to. Okay, there we go. All cast and crew. It's all the way to the bottom. Okay. Rewind.
Okay, right there at the end, whenever Zod and
Keller. No, wait, no, never mind.
anyways, we're getting off track again.
Yeah, we're going
But-
down a rabbit hole.
Anyway,
Right.
so all right, so I misspoke. All right, I'll own up to that one. Bad me. All right.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, they didn't. I mean, yeah, they could have done way better with Superman Returns. I mean, I like the fact that they explored that whole, storyline where Lois and Clark had a baby.
Oh, yeah.
Right. But in the comic books, and I could be misspeaking again, if I remember right, though, it played out this way that Lois and Clark got married.
Mhm.
Okay. She got pregnant. And because the baby was part Kryptonian, when the baby kicked, he ended up causing Lois to hemorrhage.
That was an Elseworld one. I know which one you're talking
Yeah.
about.
And so Wave Rider, the time
Yeah.
traveling, came in and gave Clark the choice. He said, I can reset the timeline and bring her back to life, but the two of you won't be married in it. And Clark made that sacrifice. He said, bring her back.
Actually, well,
Now,
They
DC writers doing what DC writers do.
they also had one with the same scenario happened. He couldn't get there fast enough, and he went into space, and him and Maxim became a thing. And you just read comics.
Yeah.
But
Because nobody ever truly dies in the comic book universe.
yeah, but no, they had an interesting storyline at one point in time, to where the artist used Christopher Reeves as a template,
Mm-hmm.
and they had a Kryptonian adopted son. He was full Kryptonian and everything, because he was eventually found out he was Zod's and Ursula's child,
Yeah.
and they named him Christopher.
Ooh, that's interesting.
It was awesome.
That's a world class
tip of the hat.
tip of the hat to Christopher Reeve. Yeah. But yeah, so back on Suicide Squad though, I absolutely enjoyed this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I would watch it again. You know,
I am gonna watch it again. I'm gonna watch it again tonight.
but
After just talking about it and everything.
yeah, but with Idris Elba's character though, I love you watched him kind of go from this I don't give a shit about anybody but myself. I mean, he even tried to get rid of his daughter at the beginning of the movie by telling her, look, the best thing that I can do for you is staying in here, right? And then of course Amanda Waller goes in there and she's like, well, if you don't do what I'm going to tell you, she can end up in here. And you know how pretty little things like that fare in this place, right?
Yeah.
And so he goes into it reluctantly, and he ends up becoming the leader that everybody told him that he needed to be. You know, especially there at the end when he's like, our ride's here, our job's done. And he turns to walk away, and then he stops, and he's just like, fuck. He just turns around and just commences just unleashing a can of badassery on Starro's children, you know?
No, you have to mention the camp scene. Where they go. Okay, what happens?
Right.
What happens
Him and
is-
Peacemaker have that that competition.
Competition who can kill more fantastic and awesome. And at the end and everything, they come up and Flag's just sitting there having a powwow with the head of the freedom fighters.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Why didn't my men alert me that you're here?"
Oh, we didn't see anybody.
We didn't see
We didn't see anything.
That-
We didn't see
yeah.
anybody. Yeah, but yeah, and
I don't want to divvy too much into this because it was a really good movie, and everybody
Yeah.
should watch it and everything. That's one thing. I like doing reviews, but I don't like doing reviews. Sometimes I want to give it like 2 weeks, but everybody else on the internet is doing reviews and explaining the ending and doing this, doing that.
Oh God, I hate those YouTube guys that are like, oh, this is what this means, and this is what this means, and like, and if you're thinking I'm wrong, you're just stupid because you don't read comic books. Like, look, just.
Yeah, I hate one of the guys that actually does do that. And he
What is it?
No, we're not even mentioning him.
No.
You know who I'm talking about because I say
Yeah,
it all
because he
the time.
constantly wants to give away like box sets of the Infinity Saga and a PS5 or PS4 Pro
And he
after
never
so many,
does.
and he never gives them away. It's like, dude, come on, bro. And then he starts using the channel to promote his Spotify account. It's like, go give me a follow. If you follow my Spotify account and you comment on my video, you'll be entered for this drawing of the PS5. And we reach so many, it's like, you know what? I don't want the router. You know what? I don't want the router that you can't cross-platform with anybody else. You just stop.
Yeah. But anyways, well, we can cut it off of that. It was actually a very wholesome movie. Taking it off the top of that. Give it a watch. I mean, I'm not gonna boast on the Rotten Tomatoes because I think this is a joke, and this is just an honest opinion of two fans of these types of movies and everything. So we're kind of biased, but to the point of it really does make me feel that it is an everyman movie. Anybody that watches this movie can enjoy it from one state to the other.
Yeah.
It's like Deadpool. There's a lot of people that didn't understand or know who Deadpool was before it came out. Even in the Wolverine Origins, they definitely didn't know who Deadpool was in that one because
No,
he was
just
only
Wade
the
Wilson
merc-
in that one, yeah.
Yeah, he was only.
But that's
the
okay
merc with
because
Malin
Deadpool
Malin.
fixed the timeline.
Yes.
Yes, he did.
Yes.
I will say one
That's
last
not
thing.
fiction either.
I loved Peter Capaldi's role as the Thinker in this movie.
Oh God, yes.
I
love him as an
because he was like, okay, I'll admit I fucked up.
I still like that one part. He's like, I kind of, made a little love to it too.
He's
What?
Like, I kind of had my way with it. Then they looked at him. He's like,
Yeah.
like you do the same thing.
It was stupid ridiculous.
Yeah, Taika Waititi, as the original rat catcher.
That was a very emotional scene with him and her.
Yeah, it was, and it kind of really gave you. I mean, it without going into the specifics of her background, it really gave
Michael
you the basis.
Cassidy was Jimmy Olsen. I had to look it up. Sorry. Yeah.
And there you come in with your random, freaking, anyways, whatever. So they didn't really have to go into her storyline a whole lot as far as background was concerned. I mean, they handled hers perfectly with that flashback. Because she kind of explained it a little bit in her cell and on the Osprey on their way into damn it. Just saw this damn movie. Corto Maltese. Anyway, so then then they show you the flashback and you're like, oh, that's her dad. That's the original Ratcatcher. And then just the scene that they had, you were like, oh, I get her now.
Yeah.
So, but it's going to be interesting to see
Them play off of this one.
Yeah, it's going to, I mean, it especially the dynamic that Amanda Waller's character is going to have going forward with the people that work for Task Force X.
The interns.
Yeah.
We'll call them the interns.
Yeah, we'll
on
call
this
them
one.
the interns. I mean, she goes in, I mean, she
Now,
absolutely
you can't
starts.
say anything after that. Just the
Okay.
interns.
Okay, the
You gotta
interns.
let-
No, I'm just saying how Amanda Waller just absolutely starts losing her shit it's like you see that moment, like right there. She loses control, and then she realizes it, and she can't stand it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like at the end of the end of the original Suicide Squad, when you see that end credit scene. It when she's talking to Bruce Wayne, and he's like, she goes, "You should stop working nights," and he looks at her and he goes, "You need to shut it down," and then he walks away. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's about as if you don't quit, I'm going to come after you as you're going to get, without somebody physically coming out and saying it. Because I mean, only a persona like Bruce Wayne can pull that off.
No, it was even. I think it was a lot better in the Justice League cartoon,
Oh yeah.
because you actually seen after Batman left and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
After he did the same thing in the movie, is she was physically shaken because she was actually Batman. No matter what, he
Yeah.
is the embodiment of fear.
Okay, now speaking of Batman, okay, I'm going to say something that everybody's been thinking, and if you haven't been thinking it, you will start thinking it, and you're going to agree with me 100%, totally. We need to have a live-action Batman Beyond movie, and Michael Keaton needs to play a retired Bruce Wayne.
Dude, you're just talking like 3, 4, 5 years old.
I don't care.
thinking.
No.
But yeah, we do need.
We
that.
need this. We need this in our lives.
in our lives.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, while it's not an original thought.
Even he's like, as soon as they come up with the stuff for it, I'll do it.
Yeah, I mean,
Michael
it's-
Keaton's for it.
Yeah, he is.
Even I still like.
And he's one of the few people that can play a role in both the MCU and the DCU, because he plays the Vulture in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I think that he's going to ultimately he's one
of those actors that's so versatile. It's ridiculous.
Oh, speaking of Spider-Man, I saw an article. I don't know how legitimate the source was, but I read it a little bit. Kevin Feige came out and said that they're not going to release trailers for No Way Home.
That comes out in December, doesn't it?
Yeah, it comes out December 21st.
They might not, and they might pull the Baby Yoda.
Yeah, but
I really hope so, because I'm really getting tired of finding all the information.
you basically you can basically watch the movie just through the trailers, right?
Not even watch
But
it through
now,
the trailers.
having said that, they did an amazing job with the trailers for Endgame, because they put in the footage in a lot of the trailers was unused footage that had nothing to do with the actual movie.
And they're starting to. Well, I hate to say this right now, but DC actually, not DC, but Marvel Studios, Walt Disney is doing a lot to make sure there's no more spoilers anymore. To where you go see the movie, you're entertained.
Yeah.
And it's getting hard nowadays to want to go see a movie that is pretty much like cookie cutter.
Yeah.
It's stamp. Oh, this is totally new. This is going to be a wonderful thing. You just put Batman in a different costume and named him a different name. Weird.
Yeah, I mean, because the superhero genre it was starting to fall into that trap of, okay, over the top action scenes.
Here lately, the only movies that were very original
Mm-hmm.
and very thought out, that were legitimate superhero movies,
Right.
and that was Super, which was James Gunn,
Mm-hmm.
and Bright, which is James Gunn.
Talking about Bright, like on Netflix with Will Smith?
Not Bright. Birthright.
Birthright, okay. Now, Bright was a good movie. I did enjoy Bright.
Yeah, I love that. I kicked myself for enjoying it so much, wanting a sequel. I was hoping for a sequel.
Yeah, everybody was.
Everything says they're going to make a sequel, but I think Netflix
Yeah, Netflix, they took a page out of Fox's playbook and they canceled something really great. So
only because a lot of the people gave it bad reviews. I hate critics. I honestly do.
Yeah. Oh, like, okay, something certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. It's almost guaranteed that I won't go see
I was
it.
like the Dave Chappelle, the Dave Chappelle, what is it, Sticks and Stones.
Yeah.
Shit canned by the critics, but
Fans loved it.
I'll rewatch that like 100,000 times. But anyways, people, this was What the Hell. We reviewed Suicide Squad.
Or at least attempted to.
I attempted to. Well, it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, this was a fun episode. We got into a lot of different topics. And, you know, I misspoke. I owned it. I didn't really have to call you out for anything.
That's because I know comics.
Well, no, I'm just our usual banter back and forth. I
Oh, yeah,
really
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
have to call you out for anything. But yeah, we are going to. David and I are both working at the same place now, so we're going to have to revamp. We're going to stay with our same. We're going to try to do what we can to honor our original release schedule for our episodes, whether it be Nerd Sports or what have you.
Nerd Sports is kind of
That's our flag
wonky.
show, basically.
Well, it's not our flag show. It's
Not
our,
flag. I said flex.
Oh, flex. Okay, yeah.
That show will be flexible as far as
dyslexia
like
hearing.
right. There you go. See, you took on my role this time.
I know, right? But we are gonna try to do the Psychos and Sociopaths and the
What the hells?
What the hells?
Yeah, we're gonna keep those Saturdays and Sundays respectively, but for the most part, we're really working hard to be those responsible adults to meet our commitments outside of the studios, but we're really working hard to try to keep the content, not necessarily, well, I mean, of course, keep the content fresh, but we really want to maintain the continuity of the show, and we're really working hard behind the scenes. So there's a lot of effort that goes into these things. David does the lion's share of it, where he does the editing. He provides the venue for us to record in, and he handles a lot of the tech and the hardware stuff. I just show up, and for the most part, with the exception of the nerd show or the nerd sports, I just kind of show up and jump into the conversation. But this is something that we both enjoy doing. We really sincerely hope that you guys enjoy listening to it and being part of the community. So again, the only way to do that, it helps us out by getting us listeners. It helps us out by sharing the videos. It helps us out with the comments in the comment section. It helps us with the reviews on Apple Podcast. Helping us create better production value for this show, making sure that we're bringing you relevant content. It all starts with you, the listener, the follower. So
I think next episode, though, it's gonna get kind of wonky for everybody, and I try to stay away from political bullshit, but I'm gonna talk to Bill about it this week, our political correspondent, I like to call him, and a traveler.
Yeah.
But,
are you talking about the per mileage thing? Did you read that article I sent you?
Oh, it's even worse than you even think about.
Ugh.
There's more to it.
And this is specifically, we're talking about the infrastructure bill, right?
This is one bill. Yeah, this is infrastructure.
So we're going to dip
There's
into
a
the
lot-
infrastructure bill.
There's a lot more to it that you gave me the avenue, and I looked more into it. It's like 2,000 pages.
Yeah.
Bill's the only one that I know of that would read all 2,000
Yeah,
pages.
so-
He reads each and every bill like it's a book.
Yeah, so what we're going to try to do here is if and when on the occasion that we dip into the political arena, we are going to try to get as educated as we can about it. So that way when we come to you,
And we got to try to be more unopinionated on it. I know that for you that's hard. I can already see you flaming
because
at me.
okay, yeah. I'm an unabashed, unapologetic Reagan conservative. And the idea that some of the proposals in this bill are bringing to the table.
It's a hidden new Green Deal,
Yeah. So
and the reason why.
I'll make you. I'll give you this.
No,
Okay.
I just want to cut the show real quick.
Yeah, I know.
but-
I'll give you this. We go into this.
because I want to do it for the next show.
I know. When we go into this, I'm going to do everything that I can to try to maintain an objectivity, but yeah, I'm just going to try it. That's the only thing I'm going to tell you. So on the occasion that we do have to get into these types of subject matters, we want to be able to make sure that we're giving you our best effort, as opposed to coming in here and just kind of rambling off and sounding like half the idiots that are on Facebook. You know, they're either surgeons, legal experts, constitutional experts, or military tacticians. They come out of the woodwork anytime anything of that particular subject matter hits Facebook. So we don't want to be those guys. So,
Yeah. Because in all reality, and this is sounds so ridiculous, I'm lazy. I don't want to divvy into that political bullshit. I'll read on it a little bit if it's something that you have to be passionate about. You have to go up and you got to put your feet down, plant them, and say no.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I don't listen to talk radio anymore, is because it consistently puts me in a bad mood.
NPR is like the devil.
Well, no, not even NPR, because I can't sit there and talk to you just like this and pretend that I was beaten as a child, and that's why I'm a flaming this, that, and the other. I can't do that. I can't sit there and talk to you.
You came from the 80s. Of course you were beaten as a child.
It's not, I wasn't abused. I was disciplined, because I'm going to be the first person to admit I was hell on my parents.
Oh, yeah, me
Okay.
too.
I'm the firstborn. I'm the oldest of of 4 kids. Okay. I was the test pilot. I was fucking Chuck Yeager as far as my parents' parenting skills are concerned. I mean, I pushed things as far as they could possibly go, and then when it came time for me to bail out before I burned in, I did exactly that. I still got singed, but it's okay, because I'm Chuck fucking Yeager. Rest his soul. But anyway, so that's this week's What the Hell. Again, we're going to go through the spiel. Give us a subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell. Give us a, up, like, dislike, down, whatever.
That's the reason why I don't do it. I just got...
Give
like
us
I
our
said, I'm
comments.
lazy.
Get engaged with our social media platforms, people. We'll put them in the descriptions. Click the links. Do what you do. It takes
And
you
a lot of
like
people
it takes
are-
you less than a second to hit it with your thumb.
Just to let y'all know, the Instagram and Facebook, we show that the episode is up. That's a good notification from us. Just like Facebook, but you actually get the creme de la creme, either Instagram or Facebook. If you like Angry Me Production, you get funny memes. That's the only thing we can give out.
Oh
really.
yeah. We'll meme you all day long.
Oh yeah, we had some. I love the boss one I just put up. I finally defeated the final boss that I was always.
And my coworkers are like. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up on that. I'm Johnny Skelton,
I'm David Dickerman.
and y'all keep it classy, and we will see you next week. Actually, we'll see you probably in a couple of days when we come back to Film Nerd Sports.
Yes, we will.
All right, and we promise that it won't be like an hour and 38 minutes like this week's episode
You're
was.
surprised people like it.
Yeah, well, that's true.
More people listen to the hour and 30 minutes than they do on the because they're getting their money's worth, basically.
Okay, all right, well, good on y'all for your attention span. Anyways, we're out of here.
Yep.